Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Pennsauken's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app. Is the exterior of your home or business covered in dirt, mildew, or mold? Driveway or walkway stain? Pressure King can make your siding, deck, vents, and concrete look new again with no damage. Pressure King has cleaned the exterior of houses and businesses all over Sumter County area. Usually it takes less than a day and costs less than you would expect. Call AJ at 352-457-7209. Lindsay Vanderwall Photography offers natural light photography for any occasion. With over 10 years of experience in the industry, we promise you professionalism and quality photography always. Affordable pricing for weddings, sports, family, and senior sessions. Contact today to book. Guys, welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and today we have a special guest. He's a former Raider, went on to Florida State and played linebacker there and did a great job there, and then moved on to his professional career, which is now with the Dallas Cowboys. Please welcome Kendall Smith. Kendall,
what's
great
going
to see
on?
you, man.
How you doing, man? Good seeing you too.
A long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah,
You doing okay?
I'm doing great, man.
Good.
Blessed. Can't complain about nothing.
Good. That's the way it should be, right?
Yeah.
I always say no. I can't complain. Nobody wants to listen.
Nobody want to listen to it. You know?
They all got their problems.
Oh yeah.
So welcome home.
Oh yeah.
Spend a lot of time out west.
Yeah.
How's that going on?
Well, you know, Texas is Texas. They just say everything's bigger in Texas. Great state. Great. They got good football out there. The weather is just. It reminds me of Florida. You know, a little drier, but other than that, it's a good place to live. Right. Yeah. I saw you came to the game last night. That was awesome. Yeah. A lot of the kids love that. Yeah. Coach Lawrence and I, we talked about that, how you got former players that come back, and now we've got a lot of former players that coach. Yeah. And that's a lot of the kids don't even know that they that they played. But it's because they haven't seen them guys play ever. Yeah. And they don't want to watch highlight films. Yeah, some of them kids probably weren't even born when I was playing. So,
no. Or close to it.
Or close to it. Or there was a little, there was a little baby when I was out there playing. So how did you get started in football? Was this always something that you loved, or was there another sport? Football started with me with my older brother. William Wilson. When I was a kid, I always went outside and played with the neighborhood, kids and whatnot. But he used to organize us and have us play ball, sandlot ball, and he used to always just tell me what to do or whatnot, and I would just do it, right, or whatnot. But this is prior to that. My family originally is from South Carolina on my mom's side. Okay. And on my dad's side, they're all from Jamaica. But we lived in Lake County prior to us moving to Sumter County. I was born in Eustis. Okay. I was born in Eustis, Florida, and then I lived in Leesburg all the way up to, second grade. And then my mom, she picked us up and moved over here to Sumter County and Green Settlement. And that's when it all started. Like I said, my brother, he'll have us go outside. And at that time, the neighborhood kids we had a bunch of kids. Right. And so every time we would go outside, we would just play, whether it's basketball, whether it's sandlot football, whether it's sandlot baseball, whether it's just in the woods playing hide and seek, whether it's a plethora of things we was doing as kids that you know what I mean, that's where it started for me. I never played Pop Warner football.
Okay.
So he had us playing organized, you know what I mean. Sometimes it'd be 11 on 11, sometimes it'd be 10 on 10, whatever, you know. But it was it helped and molded me and turned me into somewhat of a decent football player at the time when I played. So yeah.
Right. Did you basketball or baseball or anything?
Yeah, we was out there playing, you know what I mean, basketball, you know what I mean. It was crazy because at the time, I don't know, you know, I haven't been in the Green Settlement in some time. But at the time, everything was dirt roads.
Right.
There wasn't no pavement.
Right.
So, you know, for us to still accomplish the things that we did as kids on dirt or whatnot, it made things a lot easier when we actually hit a court or we hit a field or whatnot. So yeah. It's pretty cool to see some of them guys that was also living out there that they made it to college and played ball themselves or whatnot, and you know what I mean, just doing good for themselves now. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My buddies, growing up, we played on a dirt court. Yeah. And it started out, the rim was at 10 foot. And then by the time we got, 15, 16 years old, yeah. It was around, 12 foot high.
Yeah, you're right.
We dug a hole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's just the life of living in the country. So,
yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I think it makes you better.
It does. You know, it's funny. You know, now what I do, you know, you ask the guy where he's from. You know, I mean, the majority of the time in our profession of football right now, a lot of them kids from either inner city, country. You know, I mean, it's where the good ball is at. So, you know, it's pretty cool. You know, seeing that I come from that too as well.
Yeah. Do you ever run into somebody and they're like, what are you talking about? Like it's almost like a culture shock. Like, y'all did what?
Yeah. Not really. It's just football is to me I call it a blue collar sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's an honest sport. It ain't no running from it. So you know what I mean. A lot of kids that's involved in it now, you know, they understand. You know, a lot of them have been through it too as well. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also makes you tougher. I mean, you gotta be tough.
Yeah, you can't be. It's a man's game for sure. You know.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I love about it.
You know, I really never heard that term blue collar used until the state championship game when we played Chaminade. And I remember the commentator saying, the blue collar boys from South Sumter. And I was like, okay. I mean, yeah. I understood what he was talking about, but I was like, man, I've never really heard anybody call us that before.
Yeah. You know, we're a small town, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a small town full of good people that work hard, and we love our football.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like any other small town in the state of Florida or a small town that, you know what I mean, that just embraces the fact that, you know, the whole town shuts down and they come and support their kids, you know. So and I always loved that about South Sumter and how Sumter County or Bushnell how they did it. I remember one of the first games I came to, you know, and I'm going to the field and you're seeing all the people in the stands. You're just seeing that, okay, this is what it's about. Yeah. All the focus was on the field.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. So, you know, that's what opened my eyes and had made me fall in love with South Sumter football.
Yeah, definitely. The support is there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely there.
Like last night, and I know that they came all the way from Miami, but they didn't have anybody in the stands.
Yeah, and that's what that was. It was that team. You know, it's a small team. You know, and they were scrappy.
Oh, they were
scrappy. They're fighting for their lives out there. But you know, it was weird, kind of weird not seeing nobody on that side. You know,
yeah,
I was like, you know, and back when I played, you know, at South Sumter High School, I never too much paid attention to the stands, but, you know, every now and then I looked to that. I was like, okay, it was got a pretty nice crowd tonight, you know what I mean? But, you know, it was cool that we was able to bring people out to support us, you know what I mean? And at that time, you know, other schools other people wanted to see what South Sumter football was about. You know, obviously, you know, they heard about us, so they wanted to see, and it was pretty cool to have the outcomes that we did when we was in high school. So yeah.
Did last night remind you a little bit of the 2020 and COVID year at the NFL when stadiums were empty and that many money?
That was weird to me. I never like, you know, realized how important the fans are.
Oh,
you know what I mean? How, you know what I mean, how much you feed off of the fans as a player, you know, and I'm not even playing no more, but the sheer fact that you out there and you don't see no fans, you don't hear fans cheering on when you score or when a big play is being made, and it shows you how much the two plays in with each other as far as the players, the coaching, and the fans, you know. And without the fans, it seemed like it was some games you had to self-motivate yourself to, you know what I mean, get into it, you know. Or we had to, you know, had to talk to your players and get their minds right prior to the game a little more, due to the fact that they don't have that support out there, you know what I mean. The fans cheering them on, and you know what I mean, giving them all the energy just to go out there and play a game that they love. So you know, it was weird, but you know what I mean, it also showed that the game can be played without fans. Absolutely. You know, and
it's just not as fun.
It's not as fun. You know, it's not as fun. So I can only and on the pro level it's a little different. You know, as far as, you know what I mean, it's not as rowdy as college. So I can only imagine how the college players felt with not having the student session, not having the fans out there. So
absolutely,
yeah, it was a tough year. You know what I mean, but I'm just glad we got through it, and I hope we don't have to go through anything like that again.
Yeah. So well, did you play middle school ball? Yeah.
So you know, I started off, my first time ever playing organized football was in 7th grade. You know, like I said, prior to playing, you know, I'm going to a South Sumter game. I remember the game, to be exact, they were playing against Jacksonville Bulls. I think we didn't win that game, but it came down to the wire. And I remember I was being on the sideline, and that little back corner, I don't know if the kids still do it anymore, that little back corner where we played football. I remember we'll go out there and try to emulate what we see on the field or whatnot. I remember, you know, out there playing ball, and one instant I stopped, and I was just looking at the sideline and my hands on the fence, and I seen number 30 out there. You know what I mean? And that was Earl Everett at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be better than him, because I'm talking about he cracking heads on defense, that linebacker, safety, he kickoff returns, he playing quarterback. I was like, I want to do that or whatnot. And I had made it a decision at that point in time in my life that I was going to be a football player, and at the time it was all ball, you know. And I fell in love with it, you know. And you know, I gave it my all. I gave my 100% due to the fact that I loved the tradition behind the program that we have here, and it was all gas and no brakes after that. You know? So
So where did you start out? I mean, you said you wanted to be a linebacker, or you wanted to be like Earl or better than Earl. Where did you start at?
Well, you know what I mean, my at that time, my favorite pro football player was Marshall Faulk. And I wanted to play running back.
Marshall.
Yeah, I wanted to play running back, and you know, in 7th grade, I remember Coach Kinley approaching me after like PE, and we was playing flag football, and I'm playing quarterback, and I'm running left, right, trying to, you know, avoid guys or whatnot. And after that, at the end of the day, Coach Kinley approached me and asked me, did I want to play ball? And I was like, yeah, I play ball, you know. And I didn't, you know, think nothing of it, but I thought it was pretty cool that, you know, he seen that the fact that I can help contribute, you know, to, you know, radio football, and it was all she wrote. He had me playing running back and linebacker. I thought I was a better running back at the time than I was. And obviously I wasn't, because, you know, I ended up being a linebacker, you know, and it was pretty cool, you know, because, you know, I was on the 7th grade team, and I would play or whatnot, and he would throw me in with the 8th graders every now and again. So I was like, you know, that's pretty cool that he's, you know, giving me a shot, you know, to play or whatnot. And you know, it was all she wrote. Played 7th grade ball, and then I started establishing a little name for myself when I made it to the 8th grade. And you know, I mean, it just kept on working out for me. It kept on getting better for me. At that time, I didn't understand how important school was. So, you know, I would, you know, in the summers, I'll be in summer school or whatnot, and then that's when I really tried to start tightening up on my schoolwork or whatnot, and realizing how important that was, because that's something I really struggled with as a kid. You know, and not the fact that I'm a dumb kid or whatnot. school was a little
just didn't take it as
I didn't take it serious.
Yeah,
I didn't take it serious. And then once I started, it took for Coach Sherman to sit me down one day and explain to me, if I didn't do this, then I'm not going to be able to do that. And that's playing sports. And so once he sat me down, I focused. I locked in. I wasn't going to be the last thing I wanted to be is another statistic or whatnot. My mom, she always told me, if you want to do something, put your mind to it and go after it or whatnot. And she's a hardworking woman, and I always try to implement, the discipline. If you set a goal or whatnot, you got to be disciplined enough to wake up every day and put something towards that goal. So, I woke up every day with the intent of making my grades better, doing what I need to do to be prepped for the ACT or whatnot. And I wasn't an SAT guy. That test was a little difficult or whatever, but I did what I needed to do as far as getting my studies right with the ACT and getting my grades up or whatnot.
Right.
And, I do appreciate Coach Sherman pulling me to the side and showing me the reality of my situation.
Yeah.
And he was real about it. He told me straight up that I wasn't going to go to college, not to put me down, but he knew what type of person I was. He knew that I was the type of kid that if you tell me I'm not going to do something, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Right.
And I think he peeped that early.
Oh, yeah.
Because the tactic that he used, it was amazing to me, because I'm thinking like, well, dang, Coach Sherman, why would he tell me that?
Right.
But Coach Sherman knew that, okay, this kid, he's going to put his mind to it. And I do appreciate him pulling me to the side and telling me the truth, and if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So it's a true blessing.
Yeah, I think you hit a lot of good points on that. I mean, like just telling your side of the story. I mean, I was in the same boat.
Yeah,
I could care less about school, man. I was there for the socialism. Man, I would just go to hang out with my friends. I just want to make jokes, make people laugh.
And then a lot of kids, especially from that transition from middle school to high school, they're trying to establish, a relationship with friends. They're trying to establish their status, their status quo, and
you're trying to figure out who you are.
You get distracted, and that's what happened to me early in high school. And then, like I said, Coach Sherman brought me out the closet and brought me back down there. Yeah. So
I can't tell you. This is going to sound bad on my own part, but I can't tell you how many times the guidance counselor would be like, look, you need to get your grades up. And I was like, I'm good. Yeah. But I didn't care. I mean, and it's not like you said, it wasn't that I couldn't do it. It's just, I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah. And as kids, we don't think stuff like that is important until it comes and bites you in your butt.
It's too late. It's
too late when it's time to walk. It's time to graduate.
Oh, yeah.
Or in our cases, as far as being athletes, when a recruit comes and the first thing he asks is what his grades like. And
absolutely,
a lot of these kids got to understand that, and I know athletes that been in those situations where that on the field they're amazing, great athletes, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about, I played with them here, and they didn't pan out or didn't make it to the level of play because of the sheer fact that they didn't handle their business prior. To them being able to go off into college, like I said, I peeped that, I seen that, and I didn't want to be the same guy. I didn't want to seem to be the same guy, and I didn't want to go to JUCO and go through all that process of trying to get back into, get on a Division I level and play college ball. I didn't want to go through all that and whatnot. So, I buckled down, and I'll tell any kid, I wasn't the smartest kid in the world, but you work, if you got hard work in you, that trumps anything,
Absolutely.
I work with a lot of smart people, a lot of intelligent people, and they're where they're at for a reason. But I also work with a lot of people they work hard, they work real hard, and I'm not saying that they're dumb or nothing like that. It's just, other people they have something that other people don't have as far as when it comes to smarts, but when you implement all hard work into your everyday life or whatnot, it'll pan out. Keep your faith in God, work hard, you'll be fine.
I like that you talking about Coach Sherman, like he was able to pull you aside and say, look, kind of motivate you. And then we've always said, you know, I just talked to Coach Lawrence, and he was talking about, you know, he asked him, what's it take to be a head coach? Like, he was asking, you know, what's the steps I need to take? And he was waiting to hear, like, well, you need to do this, and you need to do that. And he said, Coach Sherman just said, you need to know your kids.
Yeah.
And that's so important.
Yeah. Well, you know, in that position, you know what I mean, Coach Sherman, Coach Lawrence, they're leaders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what people don't understand is one of the most important things of being a leader is you got to serve. You got to serve people. You got to show people that you care.
Yeah.
And you not show them you care because you care about being a leader. You got to show them that you care because you really care.
Right.
And then at that point, when they see that you care and you go on an extra mile to make sure that they're successful or whatnot, to me, that's the true definition of a leader.
Right.
And, you know, Coach Sherman did a hell of a job at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach Lawrence, he's doing a hell of a job because he's showing these kids that he care or whatnot, you know, by going the extra mile and making sure, okay, if a kid don't have a ride to practice, that they go pick the kid up.
Yeah.
Or if a kid's short a couple of dollars on right here and there on certain things that they need, that they make sure they get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It takes a village to raise a kid. And here at South Summit High School, they do a good job. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, it's been plenty of times that as a kid, high schooler, that I caught a ride from a teacher or I caught a ride from a coach or whatnot. And as a kid, you wondering, like, why is this coach doing this for? Like, why is, you know what I mean? You know, and in a lot of our cases, you know, our fathers not there, or our moms just, they got to go to work and they don't have the time to bring us back and forth to school. And, you know what I mean? This here is, it's throughout the whole community. You know what I mean? You got coaches now that's on the team that goes the extra mile to make sure these kids have everything they need, because they simply want to see these kids be successful.
Oh, yeah.
And once these kids understand that, as kids, they'll go the extra mile to do what they need to do and do what's right. So it'll make life easier for these coaches and staff members that's helping them out. So they got to realize that it's not all about you. You know what I mean? You know, and like I said, being a good leader, you got to serve. And Coach Lawrence, Coach Sherman, the whole coach staff, Coach Coburn, Coach Ham, Coach Highness, Earl, these guys, you know what I'm saying, I can go down the list of guys that I see that doing stuff that I'm like, wow, they're amazing, man, because, you know what I mean, they don't have to do that, you know? Yeah. And, you know what I mean, you know, South Summit got a great tradition, but, you know, we ain't rich around here, you know what I mean? So, and I love that the fact that these coaches and these staff members, they're busting their hump to make sure these kids are successful. Yeah. And these kids should appreciate that. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? I appreciate all the coaches that ever did anything, coaches, teachers, whoever. You know what I mean? If I left your name out, I apologize, but I appreciate all of you guys for being there for me. I wouldn't be who I am or what I am if it weren't for the coaches and the staff members around here.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I appreciate them a lot.
So speaking of high school, when you came to high school, what were your first impressions of, like, the football program? Like, you know, going from middle school, that progression into high school, what was your first thoughts?
Well, as a kid that's growing up that watched the games, you understand it's a standard. You understand it's a standard at South Summit High School. Yeah. And if you don't meet that standard or come with the intent to try to get better every day to reach those goals or that's the standards that's being held, you're gonna find yourself on the outside looking in. So, as a kid, once that transition, I had already knew what I needed to do as far as in order for me to make this team, in order for me to earn the respect of my peers, in order for me to earn the respect of the coaches. Right. I remember the first summer workout that I had, and I threw up, and you know what I mean, Coach Sherman, he looking at me, I was over the side throwing up, and I'm saying to myself, I never threw up in a workout, you know what I mean? But also at that time, I didn't embrace the work that you had to put into the game in order to be prepared for the game, especially here at South Summit. Absolutely. At that time, I feel like we was a little bit more advanced than most programs around because we had that. We had 100 plus kids come and try out for the team and do these workouts. Right. You know what I mean? We didn't have. I don't know any other school around here that was like, man, yeah, we had 100 plus kids come to our workout. Like Coach Sherman had to cut guys and say you can't play for. Yeah. You know how crazy that is as for a high school. You know what I mean? And so that alone let me know the tradition and how important and what you needed to do to make this team, because you got 100 plus kids trying to try for a team, and you might not make it.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's a lot plays into that, not just being a good football player, your character, you know what I mean, your work ethic, you know what I mean, all those things play into it. So, you know what I mean, Coach Sherman them had to pick and choose, you know. And
right.
you know, obviously they did a hell of a job, you know, but that was pretty cool to me. The standard was always high around here, and it remains the same.
And what people don't realize is only 11 can play.
Exactly.
You got 65 kids out here. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, I'm not the math guy, but it's not many guys are going to get out there at the time.
And if you made the team, it's still a level that you got to surpass in order to even be a starter. So
right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, yeah.
Did you play JV at all?
No. I went straight from middle school ball straight to varsity.
Varsity, okay.
To me, it ain't nothing to brag about or not. It was a big learning curve for me, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm going straight to varsity. I know I'm starting. I know I'm playing. I got humble quick. You know what I mean? At that moment, that's when I knew I wanted to play linebacker. Yeah. Because I'm at running back and I'm getting smacked. And I said, I don't want to be the nail. I want to be the hammer. Yeah. And so that's when I started developing, you know what I mean, my mindset that I wanted to play linebacker. Because I played a little bit of halfback, a little bit of power back, you know what I mean, a sprinkle of fullback. But then, you know what I mean, when I got the linebacker, that's when I started, with the thanks to Coach Lawrence, that's when I started getting a feel for the position, and it started working out for me.
Who was in starting linebacker at the time?
Pedro Hassel, and I got a faint memory of who was playing beside him. Was it Brady Jackson? I could be wrong. Yeah, but I do remember Pedro.
Yeah, and Coach Lawrence said Pedro would knock you out.
That's an understatement right there. Pedro, I'm gonna show you some love, brother. Like it's been times I've seen pulling guards, and I seen Pedro run through the pulling guard like he was a freaking door, and just make the tackle in the backfield.
Oh my god!
And Pedro had this walk. He wasn't the strongest man in the weight room. He wasn't the biggest dude. He was a big high school football player, but he just had this walk like this. All right, I'm gonna knock you. Excuse my language, but you know what I mean. He was the starting linebacker at the time, and that's right there to show me the type of football you have to play at that position.
Great guy to emulate that.
Oh yeah. So Pedro,
that's who you're looking at. If that's who's in front of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good guy.
That joker right there, he would bring it, boy. And you know what I mean? And he had a lot of respect on that team. I wish Pedro could have made it, man.
Was Earl still there?
No, Earl wasn't. I didn't play with Earl.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get it. When I was coming in, Earl was going out. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, I got you.
I think Earl graduated high school in 04. 03.
03,
yeah. So when I was
he was a freshman when I was a senior.
Yeah.
Oh, and you talk about impact. Coach Sherman said he was playing JV, and he told his grandma, says, he ain't playing JV.
Oh yeah,
he needs to be on varsity.
That's a grown man.
And his grandma said, "Well, looks like this Thursday's your last JV game."
So that's what's up, man.
You get in, you get your feet wet, you learn them. Because we all, even though every program, our Wolfpack, our middle school, high school, we all try to run the same system. Yeah. But everybody has their own little tweaks and stuff, and. Coach Lawrence did a great job of that. Defense was amazing. Who was some other coaches you had at the time on defense? I'm trying to remember Ty and I want to say
Coburn was on.
Coach Bourne was there.
Coach Bourne he wasn't there tonight.
They wasn't there.
Coach Williams was the D-lines coach.
Okay.
Coburn was the secondary coach.
Oh, I forgot Coburn did secondary.
Yeah, Coburn was secondary.
I was thought he was OC.
Coach Lawrence was the linebackers coach.
Okay.
On defense at the time, and I think that was our coaches on defense, and on offense, obviously Sherman. You had Coach
Helms.
Helms was offensive line coach.
Lineman, yeah.
I forgot who coached receivers and running backs. Dang, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. I just didn't know if there was a coach besides Coach Coach Lawrence, and I didn't realize he was your position coach.
Yeah, Coach Lawrence. Coach Lawrence taught me how to play linebacker.
Okay.
He taught me how to read. He taught me my pre-snap reads, to look at the hand. You know, if the knuckles are white, you know what I mean. They not pulling. If it's red, they either coming downhill or they pulling. He taught me about the triangle. You know what I mean. To read my keys to guard. Yeah. Running back, you know what I mean? He was real impactful on me being able to play that position really, really well or whatnot. You know, he did a good job. Coach Lawrence has a way of getting you to understand ball. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, he was when he'll get on you, he'll get on you. Yeah. He'll put his foot in your behind, but you know what I mean. Other than that, he'll let you play. He'll let you play. He was a very, very, very. He had a very unique way of teaching us, and I loved it. I loved it. You know. And it's cool seeing that he's the head coach now. Yeah. You know what I mean? He earned it. You know, he does a good job with the kids, man.
You know, I heard a story about your Highness Morgan, how he did something at practice, and Coach Lawrence says, "Just go, get out." and your Highness was walking, trying to get off the field, and Ty said, "God, I hope he don't leave."
Coach got his ways of getting you to get things done, man, and you know, we all appreciate that from him. You know? We all appreciate him the way he's coached us, and I mean, he helped turn us to some grown men. You know, man. And
promotional consideration paid for by the following: Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Pennsauken and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Duto Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it. Helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right.
And I love the fact that when we come back, he makes sure that we around the kids. He makes sure that the kids understand, you know what I mean, how, you know what I mean, a lot of these things that they're getting, or a lot of the love that they're getting, it comes from the old ball, you know what I mean? And it's not just with us. I'm talking about, you know what I mean, that the era when Boodham were here, you know what I mean, the Clinton Crosley's, all those eras that was prior. Yeah. They try to keep the tradition alive or whatnot. You know what I mean? Like you said, a lot of these kids were babies when we was playing ball. Yeah. So, you know, when you say a guy like a name like Kendall Smith, they're like, who's Kendall? You know what I mean? They don't see it, you know what I mean? Versus now they still see it keep playing on national TV. You know, they know about the guys that's the most recent guys that's playing. And the coach does a good job of trying to make sure these guys know who these former players is, because you know, the program was built by a multitude of players. Oh yeah, you know I mean, not definitely. Just multitude of players and coaches, but you know what I mean. He does a really, really good job of keeping us in the loop.
What did you think of the field last night?
Oh, that right there. I seen it on social media prior to coming and whatnot, but seeing it with your own eyes and seeing the sheer fact that, like, dang, this is South Sumter. Yeah. You know what I mean? We talking about dirt, dusty. Yeah. You know what I mean? The boneyard on the practice boneyard, and this at a point in time in the year, the field we trying to manage it. Yep. And I'm sitting there looking like, golly, look, I'm recording and I'm like, dang, bro, we starting. And I said it to Johannes last night. I said, bro, we finally starting to kind of become that program that you know, in Florida, you know. In Florida, you know, the football, me personally, I'm no disrespect, no other state, Florida got the best football. Yeah. You know what I mean? Due to the fact that I do live in another football state. But I always preach this to Johannes. I say, the one thing that I do see in Texas is they invest in the schools, they invest in all. And they trying to just make, they got the money. Yeah. They got and so I see that everywhere in Texas. You know what I mean? Every high school is
Yeah.
And so to see that, our high school is, coming along, after, the success of playing good football,
right.
you're seeing that it's getting put back into the school for the kids. That's the tradition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's starting to pop.
Right.
And I like that. They look amazing. Amazing.
I was telling somebody the other day that we're the only school in the area besides the green team that has a turf field.
Yeah.
We're the only one.
But the green team they got some money over there.
Oh, they got money.
They got long money, but
that money it ain't helping them out too much.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is here, regardless, I think that in the surrounding areas, going from, like I said, from Green Settlement, Webster, you got Bushnell, you got, I can go Little Small Lake Pan, you got Center Hill, you got Coleman. If you would think, you got, Wildwood. The South something, for some reason, all the kids, they come and they know about the ball. So, so you're getting what you're putting out, and I love the fact that the community is all in for these kids. The community is all in on making sure they're provided or they're all in and to make sure these kids have everything they need to be successful. You know what I mean? So therefore, when you go off to school, there's no excuse.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, get your grades right. You know what I mean? You got a good program as far as football. You know what I mean? AJ doing a heck of a job with basketball. You know what I mean? You got the track team. The kids are running. I don't know who the track coach is right now at the moment, but Coburn. He's still
Coburn's still track.
You got track. You got you got weightlifting. You got all this stuff to be and not only with sports, then academics. South Sumter. We went from a school that academics wasn't all the the greatest. Now it's an A school. You got everything that you need to be successful as a kid. So therefore, if you don't go off and be successful, that's on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You can't point at the coaches, the teachers. You can't point at administrative. You can't point at them. We're giving your kids everything y'all need to be successful. Right. So it's up to them to make that decision whether or not that they want to do something with themselves. So.
Right, and it also helps the parents help out too.
Yeah, the parents do.
I mean,
like I said, it takes a village to raise a child.
It does.
And we're doing a hell of a job here. So.
Yeah. But the village ain't getting that tax break either. I'm just kidding.
Oh man!
But you're right about that. I probably said this on here before, and I'll say it many times, but I wasn't raised just by my parents. I was raised by the community. Yeah. When both of my grandparents passed, I adopted grandparents. Mm-hmm. Friends of mine, their grandparents, and I said, whether you like it or not, you're my new grandparent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah.
And they never said a word. They loved it. And that's it's a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you can have someone else look after you. I mean, I was a grown man when they all passed, but still, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah, they brought you in. They brought you in with love, man.
That's right.
And that's one thing that's one feel I've always got. Being here in Sumter County. Like I said, my family, a lot of my family live in Lake County, and I'm not knocking Lake County or whatnot, but at the time when we was little, it was rough. It was a lot going on, and my mom had to get us up out of there. In order for life to be better or whatnot. Right. And coming here, it slowed us down. And I'm not saying Lake County is a city, but at that time it was on fire. It was moving, and it's coming here. It's homegrown. You got family, you got friends, you got relationships that would never be broke. Due to the fact that we grew up together, we was out there sweating together, we was playing basketball at the rec together, or we were going to the parties at the community center together. It was, especially at the time when I was in high school, I feel like me and my teammates, we was tight knit. It wasn't just playing ball at the school. Okay, after playing ball at the school, we'll go. I'm going to Webster to go see your highness. Or I'm going to Lily House, or I'm going to Pine Street to hang out with the McCooks, or I was they're my boys. Yeah. We did everything together. So therefore, when we was on the field or the court or on the track or whatever, that I know I got your back. And that's one thing I try to tell the younger kids now, they so caught up in social media, they so caught up in, the things that's distracting them. That I said, man, y'all hang out together. Y'all call your boy up, man. What you doing tonight, man? Let's go grab something to eat. What you doing? Let's go hang out. Even if you're in the video games, y'all do it together. Yeah. Don't do it. When you in your own space and they in their own space and then y'all don't have no relationship and then you don't trust each other when it's time, when it's nut cutting time. And I think they don't understand the importance of that to keep that team camaraderie. And we was extremely tight. The sheer fact that we can come back and talk about some of the old stories that we experienced with each other is amazing to me. Yeah. Like just simply last night, we were standing on the sideline. And Jawad Stevens, he called me like, "Is that you standing over there?" I said, "Yeah, where you at?" "It's me right here." I said, "Okay." We walked over there, and then we were just talking about old stories. And then Richard walked over there, and then AJ, he's standing there. You know what I mean? And it just it was cool. You know what I mean? And that goes on all the time when I come back home to be able to just talk to them. And I'm talking about, and this is any and everybody. You know what I mean? I remember one time I was in Webster and Terry Mobley, who was out there, and I pulled up on him, and we sat down and talked about a lot of stuff. His brother Patrick, we talked about stories. I seen Matt Williams, and he brought up a lot of stories. It's it's cool to get back with your friends. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The Carlos is the like I said, the Johannes is the guys, and we sit there and we just talk about some of the stuff that we did and we say it's a blessing because the sheer fact that we're still here and we're able to tell those stories with each other. So, and then to see everybody just doing well, I mean, nobody's not dead, nobody's not locked up, nobody's not, they taking care of their families. And it's pretty cool to see that we still can do that because the relationships and the bonds that we built when we was young and when we was here. Right. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love the tradition behind that. So that's pretty cool. You know?
When you, during high school, do you have a few, speaking of stories, you got any favorite games that you played in that you knew that, like, hey, man, I'll never forget this game?
We got a few. I'm going to go down the line as far as just the East Ridge game was one of my favorite games. The sheer fact that we was a small school and and I remember going I think it was the Thursday night jamboree the week prior to us playing, and we walked down there just to see what we was playing against. And at this time, this was when Jeff Demps got introduced. He first introduced himself to me, not officially, but we walking around the curve at East Ridge because they fields down in a little I guess I would say ditch or something.
It looks like a crater.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
And East Ridge playing against South Lake. Yeah. And Jeff Demps take it to the crib first kickoff. I'm like, who is that kid? Because he's fast. Oh, Jeff Demps. And okay, cool. And I think East Ridge ended up winning that game. And then the next week we played against them, and it went all the way down to the wire or whatnot. And even though we lost or whatnot, I say we gained the respect of them and whatnot because they're a 5A school at the time. We was 2A. Beat us by a point, I think by a point. And then in that next week, I think we had, if I'm not mistaken, Union County. If I'm not mistaken, and CJ Spiller was on the team.
CJ, yeah.
That was one of my not the reason why that game was so fun to me is that's when, I knew that I was going to give it my all that game, but my boys around me, they was flying to the ball, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, CJ, number one running back in the state of Florida, a top 100 guy in the nation. And that team being who they were as a team at the time, we stepped up to the challenge. So each week, the next week, I think Fort Meade, we played against Fort Meade. That was a end of the game, down to the wire game when we played them there. And then they came here the next year and it was down to the wire. But, the Madison counties, those games, the Jacksonville Bowl games, those games was huge for me. I can't say one of them was my favorite because that season, those 2 seasons, my junior year and my senior year, the level of football being played at South Sumter was crazy to me. How we played as a unit, not only on defense but on offense. Right. As a defensive player, I knew that we would win games because not too many people was going to stop us on offense from scoring. So I said it's our job to stop them from scoring so our boys can keep on racking up. Absolutely. We had guys like the Carlos Everett, we had the Nick Southall, the Richard Kellys, the Jared Flemings, the Bo Masseys, the Joey Martinez. I'm talking about the list goes on of athletes we had. That was on offense. So that was just offense alone. Yeah. Matt Williams, that was offense alone. So I knew what they was bringing to the table and the effort they was going to give us on the other side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, so there wasn't one just specific game that, this is my favorite game. That season was my favorite, one of my favorite seasons because we played against really, really good opponents every week or whatnot, and we rose to it at the occasion. We wasn't, CJ Spill, okay, that's okay. Let me see if he really what he is this week. You know what I mean?
Down.
You know what I mean? Like I said, the list goes on of games that we had or whatnot that we stepped up to the plate and we didn't tuck our tails because the sheer fact that the competition or whatnot, and that's the type of football we played at the time. So yeah.
So you ended up playing CJ a couple times, didn't you?
Yeah.
Later on.
And he got the best of it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got him in high school and he came in back and got me in college when he was at Clemson. So yeah.
Well, so you we were talking earlier about that. I put that highlight on YouTube for the longest time and that Keystone.
Yeah.
And you coming downhill on that kickoff return or kickoff team and Lightning. I don't know if it's the same kid. That poor kid, he got hit twice.
Yeah. That's that particular highlight. In high school, I took everything serious. You got now kids. They was like, I play running back. I'm a receiver.
Yeah.
I ain't got to run out on kickoff. I ain't got to run out on punt.
Yeah.
Nah, the whole game is important. It was very important to me. Real story, I hate to say it. Well, I don't. So Johannes said, Kendall, I remember one time, he said, we on kickoff, he said, I'm finna, I'm not trying to throw him under the bus or anything. He said, well, I'm finna take this play off. We got to go on defense the next play. He said, we take off. He said, I see 29 just running full speed down there. But he said, that's when he realized, okay, every play is important or whatnot. And I wasn't doing that to try to show out. Yeah. I knew I didn't know no other speed.
You're programmed for that.
I was programmed for okay, if I'm going hard on defense, I'm gonna go hard on special teams.
Right.
And then also as a young man, I didn't realize how as you're getting recruited, they look at those things.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna tell you young kids now, you think that special teams not important. It's people that's in the NFL right now that's making a living off of special teams.
Yep.
So therefore, you need to do what you need to do as far as on every play, the display that you can do it and go go hard to the fullest of your ability, so you don't put bad film out there. And that's what, that's one thing that helped me gain my respect when I was at Florida State. Mm-hmm. I took pride as a freshman to run down there and make the tackle. And I would bet my teammates, I bet you I'm making this tackle. What you want to put on this? And I'll go down there and I'll go make the tackle. But that helped the team to keep the team going. Okay. And then me at South Sumter, running out on kickoff, somebody getting hit.
Somebody going.
And the thing about what I loved about it, you have a guy that, he knew that I'm not going to be starting on defense. I'm not going to be starting on offense, but I'm going to get him on this play. Yeah. And it would get the team going, So that's, I always took pride in special teams as well when I was here as well. So,
So having said that, when you're talking about later on at your next level, so I don't know if you remember this or not, but I remember you leaving to go to Florida State, and I remember how nervous you were, man. You were almost like scared to death. But it was like, but I remember you being like, excited, but like everybody else, And I think that's why a lot of guys, when they go to college, they don't last as long because they want to come back home not knowing they're not missing anything at home. It's going to be there when you get back. It ain't going nowhere. Yeah. And so I'll never forget. I don't remember if you remember that or not. It was like, wow, tough. This tough guy. I was like, and he's not saying you were scared, but you're like, man, I just don't know what's going on. I don't know what to expect. And I really didn't even think about people actually thinking that, psychology, like, wow, man, they're like the next step. This is it. You're going on to the next step. And
because I went from being a big fish in a small pond.
Absolutely. That's what I'm getting at. Like you're making that transition.
Yeah, I made that transition, and it just. as a kid, you know, you leaving your family, you leave your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta.
It's intimidating.
It's intimidating.
Yeah.
You're going to a whole nother world.
Absolutely.
And, college and Tallahassee is not a big. It's not a big city, but it got 3 major colleges. Well, one you got Florida State. You got one of the most well-known HBCUs in the country, and FAMU. And you got, I think I could be wrong, but I think TCC is like the biggest community college in Florida.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I do know that, you know, it was a lot of people up there. I do know that I wasn't around my boys no more. I do know that I was playing big time football, and you know, you have to grow up quick. You know what I mean? And I was nervous because, you know, I just didn't know what to expect. But, you know, I'll tell anybody, and if you're trying to grow, you gotta go. You gotta go do it. You gotta put yourself in uncomfortable situations, uncompromising situations, so you can grow.
Yeah.
And you know, for the guys, that's the future kids that have opportunities to go play ball, whether it's for academics or sports. You know what I mean? Embrace it. You know what I mean? Take it in. You know what I mean? And learn from it. You know, learn from it. We're unique creatures. We're one of God's most unique machines on this earth. We adjust. We adapt to anything and whatnot.
That's absolutely right.
So, you know, don't run from it. Don't shy away from it. But it was an experience that I needed to go through, and I'm glad I went through it because it molded me to be the man that I am today.
Right.
I went off to college. I was shy. Yeah. I was introverted. I was, you know, I didn't like to speak in front of people because I didn't want people to think I'm dumb or whatnot. But that helped me get out of that shell.
Right.
I mean, I'm still a to myself person or whatnot, but I'm more of a people person now due to the fact that I was around a whole group of people that I didn't know. You know what I mean? I was around all different cultures and all different. I remember one day I was walking on campus at Florida State, and it was the moment that made me come out of that shell because I seen so many different people getting their education. And I was like, dang, you know what I mean? And then that weekend we had played against, the weekend prior we had played against Clemson, and a few people walked up to me and, you know, introduced themselves, had a great game. And that's when I said, Kendall, get out of your shell. Yeah. Humble yourself. Yeah. Because I brought myself down out of the clouds probably like going into my sophomore year. My head was I was feeling myself, and I was like, nah, you got to come down. And, you know, this is all these little small talks for myself. Yeah. And it helped me mold me to be the man that I am today. And I appreciate the fact that I was able to go to college because I didn't know I wouldn't be who I am as far as I was so introverted. Like, you know what I mean? You know, Billy, you know, I didn't say much, you know.
You were quiet. You're a very quiet guy. I mean,
but I was taking that same approach like Mr. Everett, you know, Earl's
same way.
He's a quiet guy. So, you know, but you know, like I said, I needed to go through that, you know what I mean, in order for me to be a better person or whatnot. And you know, them kids that's out there that got an opportunity to go do something with themselves. You know, embrace it. You know, it'll help you with a lot in life. You know what I mean? And you know, you'll appreciate those things when you look back. Right. And I appreciate all of that. You know, due to the fact that I'm able to do the things that I'm doing now, and be able to not, you know what I mean, be rattled or shaken when I'm in those situations. So
So when you get to Florida State, how was it playing for Bobby Bowden?
It was at the time I didn't realize how big that was. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was pretty cool. And at the time Bobby had a staff of coaches that a lot of them could have been head coaches of places. Chuck Amato was my linebackers coach. He was the head coach at NC State. Mickey Andrews, he's a legend as far as defensive coordinator. He could have been a head coach anywhere. He didn't. He got offered multiple jobs. Rick Trickett at the time was the offensive line coach. He could have been a head coach somewhere. We had so many influential Jimbo Fisher. Obviously, he's a head coach now. He was the offensive coordinator at the time. We had so many influential coaches and so many head coaches on one staff that Bobby really didn't have to say much, you know what I mean? He was just more of the figurehead and, you know what I mean? And at that point in his career, you know, he was kind of out the door or whatnot. And, but it was cool, you know what I mean? My first 3 years was there with him, you know what I mean? And Jimbo was the head coach my senior year. And that it was two totally different worlds, you know, with Jimbo, Not saying Bobby was not a great coach. Bobby's a hell of a coach, but Jimbo came in he's seen some stuff that he needed to change.
Yeah,
and he did a great job at that, you know. But being coached by Bobby Bowden, the legendary Bobby Bowden, was really, really cool and whatnot. He taught you about faith. He taught you about family. He taught you about values. He taught you about morals. He know the football part was being instilled in you by his coaches, but he just wanted you to bring to a different aspect of how you look at life. Yeah. Because he understood that football didn't last forever. Yeah. And so therefore that my mom loved him because the fact that he always, it was spiritual. He was always about family. He gave you a feel that I care about you more than anything or whatnot. So it was a really, really cool experience being coached by him.
Yeah, Your Highness and Earl have all been coached by legendary coaches. Bobby Bowden, Howard Schnellenberger, and Urban Meyer. Yeah. I mean, those guys, you guys can just that alone, I'm like, man, if you just look at the history,
that's pretty cool.
The collegiate history with
it's
it,
pretty cool.
It is cool. Man.
Yeah, and I not too many people ask me that question. What it feel like to be coached by Bobby? But
I'm going to be completely honest with you. You know, I'm a Gator fan.
I know you're a Gator.
You know, I'm a Gator. But most respect.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Most respect.
All them years that Bobby was giving y'all hell.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. Some respect. When I was younger, I hated the man. Yeah. But I hated him for stupid reasons.
Yeah. Well, that's like me
because of the rivalry.
Yeah, that's the rivalry. That's like me not liking Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't dislike him as a man. I just didn't like him because he was a Gator.
A lot of people hate Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, that's true. That's real.
But see, that's what I get it. But Bobby, man, he was.
Oh yeah.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following: Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing gear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal and Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. You know, Earl Everett tells a story about how he got recruited. Mm-hmm. Because Bobby came to a basketball game, and it was Charlie Strong. Charlie Strong came to a basketball game too, and they sat on both. They were both in our gym, man, in our high school gym at the same time, watching them play. You know, Earl goes home, and there's a limousine out front. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh my gosh!" And it's Bobby Bowden, and he's in there talking to his grandma, and they're having a conversation and blah blah blah. And he also notices there's a black SUV outside, and it's Charlie Strong, and he goes, "Hey, get that dang Seminole out of your house!" So I come in and talk to your grandma. And it's one of my favorite stories.
I bet that's pretty cool. I bet that was pretty cool as a high schooler to have that experience of multiple
two guys, same time,
and Charlie Strong he's got a real influence on players too as well, and I bet that was pretty cool for Earl to experience that.
Yeah, Earl said it was a good time.
Yeah,
but. So, and I had told you previously, like, I don't know I mean, seriously, I've never been to a game at FSU. Have no idea. I've been by Tallahassee on 10.
You definitely a Florida fan. You're a Gator fan. You're a Gator fan through and through. That's like deep in your heart, boy. I'm a Florida State fan, but I've been to Florida games. Yeah. I've been to, like, when I was getting recruited, but you're a true fan, man.
Yeah, nothing again. I'm dead serious. And I mean this with all kidding aside. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I love going to different colleges and see their stuff, But I swear I have never. I think we stopped and I got Zaxby's by the interstate. Yeah. That was it. That was it, man. But I mean, I don't. Other than what I've seen on TV. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really haven't been to a lot of away games for Florida games.
I got you.
But I know that it's a great program.
Oh, yeah, it's a great program. It's a great program. They do a good job up there. I wish, like, today's time is different, but I wish, I'm old school.
I think
I like the tradition behind the program.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, I feel like Florida State, and Miami should play each other every year.
Yeah, I think so too.
It just to keep the kids into the loop, you know what I mean? Nowadays, kids are chasing money, which there's nothing wrong with that, But and in the state of Florida, the ball on the college level wasn't the way it used to be because of the sheer fact that a lot of recruits are going other places.
I was just about to say it's changed tremendously, because you can't even count on people to be there next year.
Yeah, I can't knock kids getting their money because you got these head coaches that getting their money.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm not against that at all.
But I do wish that the tradition in the state would stay the same because for one, I don't want to go to my job and hear a former player that's not a former player, but a player that's a LSU guy or a player that's a Clemson guy or a player that's an Alabama guy. Yeah. Oh, Florida this, Florida that. Y'all ain't this, y'all ain't that. I said, bro, y'all look at your roster now. The majority of your recruits that's in the skill position, they're from Florida.
Absolutely.
So I say, you can't talk crap or whatever because you know what the product coming from or whatnot. So that's the only thing I wish that the tradition behind the programs would remain the same or whatnot because it's just. The college ball, that's what the state of Florida has. I never grew up with having a pro team as my favorite team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, I grew up a Florida State fan or whatever. And then when I tell people that's when I'm in Texas or other places, like, how you not have a favorite pro team? I say, because pro ball ain't like that here in the state of Florida. It's the college ball. You know what I mean? We take pride in that, and it's, if it gets back to that, I'll be happy because I need, even though, and you probably don't do this because, you're a true Gator fan through and through, but I'm the type of guy, if Miami's in the national championship, I'm rooting for them because it's a Florida team. If Florida's in the national championship, I'm rooting for them.
For the most part. Depends on who they're playing.
I'm just Florida through and through because I don't.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's been times I didn't want to root for Florida, but I'm like, I got to root for them.
Well, let me clarify what I mean by not coming to a game at Florida State. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm too good to come to Florida State. I don't want that. But
what, you hate us.
No. No, it's not even, seriously, it's not even that. Okay, so a couple years ago, Devin Pappenheim was at App State, and they played Georgia Southern. I went up there, and Debo Grant was playing. He was at Georgia Southern at the time. And Debo got hurt. He hurt his ACL or MCL, whatever. He was out. He was not playing. Well, I'm wearing App State stuff because Pappenheim I think he might have been a senior or junior at the time. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. I wear all App State. I went to Georgia Southern. I have never been harassed more than at Georgia Southern wearing App State gear. Yeah. I have been... Even going to a Gator game and it's an SEC, I've been against LSU, Ole Miss, all these other teams, Tennessee. Nobody has razzed somebody more than that game.
Wow.
They didn't. I'm telling you, Kendall, App State didn't even score. They got shut out. And they were just talking straight up trash. Just, nah. And of course, now there was a lot of alcohol involved. But they were throwing beer on people.
Oh, yeah, they do it. That's too much.
And I'm like, come on, man.
You're going too far at that point.
Man, when you like assault somebody.
Yeah, we ain't doing that. It ain't that serious. It's a game, bro. Don't touch me, dog. Don't put nothing on me.
Yeah. In the end, tomorrow when I wake up, it's gonna be all good.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I just like, try to stay in my lane,
Yeah.
But not that I wouldn't have. We got Your Highness on the couch over here. It's like in studio right now.
Yeah.
What did you say? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he wants me to ask you a question. So, having said that, what's the craziest game you ever played in, like hostility wise? Like, do you have any like?
It's two
that you can remember. You got two.
Remember.
Okay.
Obviously going up to Gainesville.
Yeah.
The robbery, obviously, and Clemson.
Okay. Yeah.
Clemson. They get rowdy.
Clemson with that rock. Man.
Yeah. Now my first.
What is up with that rock?
Yeah.
Has it got magical powers?
I don't know what it is. It's different. It's different. But Clemson, my first away game ever in college.
Yeah.
Was up there in Clemson. And I think we went up there and we won. I could be wrong. But we was wearing all white on one night and it was crazy. They call it Death Valley. You can argue that they probably copied after LSU.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like 4 Death Valleys.
Yeah, but and I heard LSU get real rowdy. But I would say, playing in Gainesville was real hostile, and then playing up there in Clemson was real hostile. But other than that, I don't really remember no. NC State. Yeah, NC State. Yeah, now that I think about it, because that year they had Russell Wilson. And they beat us at the very end. We was ranked top 10 in the nation at the time, and Russell Wilson, he just did his thing. And their fans, it's literally like, if our benches was right here, their fans are right up on us. Yeah, they rat there. They not
like Vanguard.
They rat on you, and so they in your ear. They was going the whole game. So between UF, Clemson, and NC State at the time, it was. I don't think NC State like that no more, but they gave us some good rowdiness and hostility.
Well, you said Florida. Even though that one time you held that Florida Gator, that Gator head up over your head, and they took all them pictures of you, man. I still loved you, man.
So at the time, it's funny. So at the time,
was that at Florida State or was that?
That was in Tallahassee.
Okay, that's what.
Well, to give you Florida fans, I'm 1-3 against the Gators. At the time, when I was playing, they had Tim Tebow, the Pouncey twins, right. Chris Rainey, Dallas Baker, Spikes. The list goes on of great athletes they had at the time, and we finally beat them boys. We finally beat them boys my senior year, but I think a lot of them was gone. So
was that when we had Josh Brantley at quarterback?
I don't know. I don't know. I know Tim Tebow had came out.
Yeah. And that was the year after he left.
He left, and then one of the Pouncey twins stayed, and the other one he left.
Oh, okay.
And Hernandez was gone.
That's right.
A lot of that team was, they was.
That's that 08 championship. Team. That was.
And so we beat them, and the head trainer at the time looked at me. He said, "Kendall," he said, I'm gonna make you famous." I said, "What you mean make me famous?" Well, I said, "What you talking about?" He said, "Just give me a second." So I was standing there, and he just came and rolled it. It's like they got it in this case. He rolled it, opened it up, and I said, "What?" And I'm like, "Why you choose me of all people?" But I was senior at the time and one of the leaders at the time, and gave it to me, and I just walked around the field holding it. Yeah, and it was pretty cool. Because the tradition behind it, the sheer fact that being from the state of Florida, I'm from Gator country. Something County is Gator country. Yeah. I came just from I'll say probably Tampa, Bradenton, all the way up to about Lake City. That's Gator country. I-4, yeah. Yep. And was like the sheer fact that you got so much tradition behind the rivalries and to be a part of that, you know, regardless of the fact that you post that picture, you know what I mean? Oh, that's my boy Kendall, you know what I mean? You know, or you know, it's been times people like, you know, that didn't even know that I played for Florida State. Like, is this you or whatnot? Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool or whatnot. But you know, I mean, that was a good feeling.
Was that pre-planned, or was that was like he's like, hey,
nah, he just
rolled the card out.
He just like smoothly walked up to me and like, you know what I mean, say, you I'm gonna make you famous, Ken. I'm like, what you talking about? And he rolled it out and he gave it. It was so. I thought because I guess they were trying to figure out what senior to give it to.
Yeah.
And
that's cool though.
And then
that's an honor.
Yeah. And then once I gave it to another senior. You know what I mean? He was able to
so you did pass it on.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But then after a while, they took that bad boy back in because you know.
They didn't want nobody yanking that thing. Somebody ripped it out of your hands.
You know, you let a fan get a hold of that, it's over. It's a wrap. So
it just goes up. Just like, oh, there it goes.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool, man.
So bowl games. You got a favorite bowl game you ever played in?
Well, my last bowl game was one of my favorite bowl games because not only because I had a good game, we played a good game as a defense or whatnot. And
who'd you play?
We played against South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And in the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta.
Okay.
It was crazy because I usually I'm always locked in and focused before games or whatever. And so being an idiot, I let my teammates talking to me into going out the night prior. And I was like, bro, like, I don't do this. And like, I'm tired, like, going into that game. But I had one of the best games I ever played in my life.
Wow.
Or not, you know what I mean? Just the sheer fact running the ball, making tackles or whatnot. And then, you know, we played against some good athletes at the time. Lattimore was the running back at the time. They had Alshon Jeffrey. If I'm not mistaken, at receiver at the time. Yeah. Yeah, Stephon Gilmore on the defense at the time. You know,
what's his face on there? Clowney? Or was there?
Clowney wasn't there at that time. But you know what I mean? Just, you know, they had some solid players.
Steve Spurrier, the coach?
Steve Spurrier was not the coach at the time.
Okay, so this is after that.
He was after that. But
I gotcha.
I don't think Steve Spurrier was there at the time. Or I could be wrong.
Because he was there when he played Urban, and they beat Urban in 2005. Okay. So I didn't know.
Well, I just don't. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then I was. Huh? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we got the fact checker. Your Highness is he's sharp. He's stat man.
He's sharp,
stats man.
But you know, that was a memorable game. And Greg Reed had a hell of a game that game.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was pretty cool that we went out with a bang that year. And that's that I always tell people because you know they always. And you know, I don't got nothing against the SEC.
Yeah,
they always screaming out SEC football. And so I was like, well, shoot, in my years, other than you know, losing to the Gators or whatever, but I think you know, my sophomore year would be Alabama. You know, I got my win against the Gator.
Yeah,
we beat South Carolina. So you know, I'm like, I always tell people, well, at Florida State, we get the same recruits.
Yeah.
We just in the ACC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, you know, me personally, I feel like it's a smart move. So, you know what I mean? You get the recruits that the SEC got, but you beat up over everybody in the ACC and then you put yourself in a situation where you can play in the national championship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people, that's the soft way of going about it. I mean, that's a smart way of going about it. Instead of being in the SEC, you're beating up on each other and then you know,
but not every week. There's a couple teams. We'll leave them out.
But like I said, I never knocked the SEC or whatnot. But also, you know, I feel like you know, I could have played in the SEC, but I chose to go to Florida State. Yeah. But I knew for a fact I could thrive in the SEC as well. You know what I mean?
But you were also an FSU fan, so that's a dream come true.
You know, it's a dream come true.
I mean, I would do the same thing if that was my team when I had an opportunity.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I'm not knocking the SEC, but they play football. It ain't no different in the other conferences. So,
well, I try to be fair, and so every college team I try to pick even if I don't like them, I pick a guy that you know he may not be the flashiest guy, or he might be the flashiest guy, but besides you, I got another favorite Seminole. And that's Kenny Shaw. Oh, Kenny! I love me some Kenny Shaw.
Oh, Kenny Shaw, yeah, that's my boy, man. I had helped him out with a camp. It was 2 years ago. He had reached out to me, and he's doing good, man. He's do good for the community.
Yeah,
I know he played a couple years in Canada, you know, but he does a really great job with the kids with his camps. He have a turnout it's amazing. basically he played with a lot of great players at Florida State.
Yeah.
So he'll have James come back. He'll have Kelvin Benjamin come back. He'll have Dalvin. He'll have all these guys come to Orlando. And even with he knew Dak through training at Tom Shaw.
Gotcha.
And he had Dak come out to the camp. And seeing how that turnout be and how hands-on he is with those kids, man, it's pretty good, you know. And I had to pick his brain to take some, because when it's get to the point where I need to go ahead and get me a camp going. I know Johannes always tell me like, Kendall, man, you need to get your camp going.
Yeah,
I'm like, awesome. Well, I was like, well, Kiki, we help with Kiki. Can't say, nah, man, you need to get your camp going.
Yeah, that's funny.
And and
kids love going.
But the thing about it is, I'm the type of person, if I was the guy, if I'm gonna get the camp going, I'm still going. I want everybody as far as former players.
Yeah,
everybody, absolutely. Former players. I'm gonna try to get as many guys that I know that's either playing in the league or former players that they can come and help out, because it's not about us.
Right.
Obviously, it's about the kids.
Right.
If I can hit
absolutely
this, if it's 100 kids and if I can only reach out to 2 of them, I did my job.
Yeah.
Or not. And so he does a really, really, really good job with the way he go about constructing his camps, and he's trying to implement hard work into these kids. He preaches on education. He preaches on faith. He do a really, really good job.
Right.
Old Kenny Shaw. He was always one of my favorite young boys, because I was a senior. He was a freshman at the time, but he was always been very, very and he keep a energy about himself.
Yeah.
Overnight. Yeah. It's contagious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching part 1 of this 2-part segment. Stay tuned for part 2.